A very good morning. I have come to teach Standard 3 English Literature, Chapter 2. And the name of the chapter is Simon Says. So, this would be Unit 2 of your English Fairy. So let's begin the chapter. I began to get the feeling that Christmas is around the corner when Ma started making sweets and the smell of burnt sugar and baking fills the house. So out here the narrator is saying that she comes to know that when Christmas is going to come, when she starts getting the smell of the sweets that her mother makes at home. The countdown begins and every day there is a new activity going on, like the Christmas tree lighting being checked, the wiring of the star to be fixed, or the last minute chopping of the dried fruits to be done. So every day means from 1 week before Christmas, for that 7 days, every day there is a new activity in the house. Some activities would be putting the Christmas lights onto the Christmas tree. The other one would be fixing the wire to the star. The other activities would be cutting the fruits for making on the cake. Then before we know what is happening, we start our rounds of carol singing, meeting old friends and making new ones. The entire month is fun. So out here the narrator says that after all these decorations are done, then they start practicing for carol singing. Now carol singing means that during Christmas time, when a group of people or children, when they come together and they start singing Christmas songs. So singing of the Christmas songs is said to be carol singing. This year, however, was different. Early in the morning, on the 1st of December, my mother woke me up with the awful news. I have to go to the hospital. Rita, she said worriedly. So this particular year, when the starting of December, which means the 1st of December, which was very joyful in this family, but this year was different because the mother told her daughter that she has to go to the hospital. So the daughter, whose name was Rita, she asked her mother why. So the mother replies, Grandpa has had a terrible accident. So she says that her grandfather, meaning Rita's grandfather, has met with an accident. Grandpa is my favorite person in the world after my friend Latika. I can tell him anything, even grumble when I think Ma is being unfair to me. He always listens and gives me the fullest attention like I'm an adult. Simon does too, but that is different. So out here Rita says that the grandfather is her favorite person in the world after her friend Latika, because she shares a very good relation with her grandfather, which means that she could tell her grandfather whatever she wants, and her grandfather would listen to her like she is an adult. When Grandpa began to lose his eyesight some years ago, he got himself a guide dog, a trained German Shepherd, and called him Simon. So when Grandpa was becoming elderly or elderly, which means that he was becoming very aged, so his eyesight was becoming less, so he could not see properly. So because he could not see properly, so he got himself a dog, and the dog was a German Shepherd. A German Shepherd is a type of a dog, and he named that dog Simon. And the reason why he named the dog Simon was because I have to do what Simon says, he told when I asked him why he chose Simon. So when the girl asked him that why did you give the dog the name Simon, then the grandfather replied that the reason why I gave the dog the name Simon was because whatever Simon says I have to do. Now for the ones who do not know, there is a game called Simon Says. Now, in this game, which is Simon Says, in that game is that one person will say something, and he will start the game like Simon Says, jump into the well. So when he says that to you, it means that you have to do it. So because when the grandfather was young, he liked to play this game. That is why when he got this dog, which is the German Shepherd, he named the German Shepherd Simon. Then he told me about a game he used to play when he was a boy called Simon Says. This is exactly what I just now explained. Because of Simon, Grandpa could continue to live on his own. He could go for walks and even do shopping now and then when he wanted to surprise us with gifts. Now, because Simon had come into his life, so this grandfather, he was able to do the normal things that a normal person could do. Previously, without a dog, when his eyesight was less or when he was losing his eyesight, he could not walk much, he could not go to places, he could not see properly. But because he had the dog to guide him, now he could do many things like go for walks, go for shopping, and even go and surprise his granddaughter, which was Rita. Simon led Grandpa straight into the path of a car, and he was badly injured, my mother said that evening. He was awake when I went, but he just kept calling out Simon's name. So the reason why the grandfather met with an accident was because while the grandfather had gone out for shopping, and when they were going out, the dog was guiding the grandfather, and they were going across the road, and suddenly a car just came and banged into the grandfather. So the mother said that when I went to the hospital, I noticed that grandfather was awake, but he was not talking to me. Rather, he was only asking about Simon. Ma had brought Simon back to our place, but he had just mopped around the house, barely eating or drinking. It was as if he knew he was responsible for Grandpa's condition. That night, Simon didn't sleep at all, and after that, he just got worse. I took him out for walks, talked to him, and told him we are praying for Grandpa's recovery. So that evening, because the grandfather was in the hospital and there was no one to take care of the dog, so the mother had brought the dog back to the house. Now, when the mother brought the dog back to the house, the dog was not eating, was just walking around, just sulking, because the dog also started feeling that the condition of the grandfather was because of the dog, meaning was because of him. So he was feeling responsible that he caused the accident, so he was not eating and not behaving properly. But the girl, that is Rita, she tried to make the dog better. She tried to make the dog better by taking the dog out for a walk, talking to the dog, and even trying to make the dog understand that grandfather would be okay. It was a couple of days later when I returned from school that I made the discovery. Simon was sitting on the porch in front of the mesh door, but he didn't react to the sound of the rickshaw when I got home. He did not reply to me when I called out to him. He just continued to stare straight ahead at Ma, who was in the kitchen. So a few days later, when she came back from school, and when she came in the rickshaw. Now a rickshaw we know is not the cycle rickshaw that we have out here, that is the three-wheeler. Rickshaws could be the autos that we have. So when that came to drop her and the auto was making a sound, Simon did not react. Simon did not react to her at all. Now when she came to the house, when she went into the kitchen, when she went into the house, Simon did not react. The only thing Simon was doing was looking straight into the kitchen, and in the kitchen was the mother. Simon, Simon, I called loudly. Finally he turned his head, stood up and trotted towards me, wagging his tail, a big doggy smile on his face. "He's deaf, Ma," I said when I walked into the kitchen. That was why he led Grandpa into the path of that vehicle. He couldn't hear it approaching. So when the girl shouted and called him, he still was not reacting. Anyhow, at the end, he just turned his head and he looked at the girl. And when he saw the girl, he felt very happy and he started wagging his tail. And this was when Rita understood that the dog, which means Simon had a problem, and the problem which he had was that he was deaf. He was deaf, meaning he was unable to hear. Now, because he was unable to hear, he could not hear the car coming, and that is why the grandfather met with an accident. Ma stopped cooking and thought for a minute. "He must be almost 10 years old now," she said, wiping her hands on a cloth.